And now turning to the Prime Minister's interview to the India Today group, we are joined by R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist, who joins us with a perspective on this. Thank you very much, Mr. Rajagopalan. Now, Prime Minister Modi spoke on a wide range of issues. So let's start with India's global role. We are a global channel. So he highlights that this is India's moment. What makes it India's moment, sir?
Mr. Lin, I would like to say that Mr. Modi, having been in public office for 13 years as Chief Minister and 10 years as Prime Minister, roughly, Modi has a global vision. Mr. Modi feels, act globally, like that type of feelings he has. Mr. Narendra Modi's concentration on any local issue has a reflection on the global issues too.
Yes.
For example, Mr. Lin, I would like to say there are 6-7 major points where Mr. Narendra Modi has focused on globally. For the example of, Indian economy is in the, third in the world order. International Monetary Fund has given a, fillip to Indian style. And moreover, Prime Minister's equation, as you are now depicting on the videos also, the presentation is very apt to our discussion. Whichever international leaders he meets, he goes with a warmth. Recently concluded G20 meeting, and apart from the economy, Prime Minister's focus on the defense. And Prime Minister also very, attuned with the COP resolutions of the environment. And artificial intelligence, when the National Security Advisor of US met Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, he gave a very interesting aspect. AI does not meet artificial intelligence. He also said America and India. So
yes,
that type
absolutely.
of, he connect the people.
Absolutely.
Moreover, Mr. Narendra Modi's, foreign policy has been, even yesterday, Dr. Jaishankar, the foreign minister, met the President, Mr. Putin. And coming from diplomacy, defense, environment, culture, whichever subject you deal with, Mr. Narendra Modi puts his, mark. Imprint there.
So to what extent, Mr. Rajagopalan, did, India being the voice of the global south, change the way the G20 actually is now looking at the global agenda by, by accommodating the developing countries?
Moreover, the first, Mr. Lin, the hats off to Mr. Narendra Modi to bring a resolution on the Ukraine, which, very, very important one, which every other international community accepted, but also making the Africa to join the same thing. That is most important. And as Mr. Narendra Modi says, India's presence and contribution from a country that used to feel left behind, we have come to a stage that we are also an entity in the world affairs.
Yes.
G20 presidency and SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Region Organization, that meeting was also held.
Yes.
And interestingly, in another 1 month's time, India is also going to have a Quad meeting where Mr. Australian Prime Minister is likely to come along with Japanese Prime Minister to create an atmosphere about the international oceanography security threats. Narendra Modi is for artificial intelligence. Even day before yesterday, when Narendra Modi spoke to the chief secretaries of various state governments, he focused on cyber security and artificial intelligence. So therefore, my understanding of Mr. Narendra Modi, though I am a very keen watcher of his speech, public addresses, 450 addresses I heard, and I have done research on that.
Yes.
Narendra Modi has a focus on many issues. Indeed. Primarily, he is, a thinker, a global thinker. I would like to say he has a special attention on culture, because India's culture, integrity, culture, everything. Whenever he goes abroad, if you understood the
Yes.
mindset of Mr. Narendra Modi, he presentation, what he gives as an honor of Indian 140 crore people's India's presentation, a memento, a
Right.
souvenir, whatever he
Okay.
gives,
So
are all focused.
Yes, let's come to India then, Mr. Rajagopalan. The Modi guarantee is something that the people of India have related to, and maybe even the diaspora, because you were mentioning that just now, have related to. So how does that, I mean, you did talk in your first answer about Prime Minister Modi having a global vision. So in this context, the Modi guarantee is also a global guarantee?
Of course. Modi does not go for local guarantees, though it will win him the elections, but global guarantee gives him a confidence, trust on India. Otherwise, India, as we are an international channel, when I am proud to join you, Lynn, today,
Yes.
to focus that Mr. Modi leaves an imprint on every subject. I repeat that because I am proud to say that I am the only correspondent in India to have focused on Mr. Narendra Modi's economic theories. And when the BJP drew its manifesto, election manifesto, Narendra Modi gave a final touches to each and every paragraph. I was privy to certain discussions where he brought in, for example, yoga. It's a health-related internet. Apart from that, much more in 2022 and 23, Narendra Modi attained a global vision. Can you imagine, sitting in New Delhi, he was giving 152 countries the free corona vaccinations, like,
Yes.
Covaxin and other
Covishield,
Covishield. So,
Right.
and in India, he has inoculated more than 250 crore Indians. Thereby, he could, ensure
Absolutely.
that he is a global leader. And whichever country wanted the Covishield or Covaxin, he was promptly dispatching them. Even recently, when the Gaza incident happened, Palestinian style, Ukraine thing happened, he brought Indians, some 25,000 Indians, like I know, in a cake. He brought them in some 20, 30 sorties of Indian Air Force aircrafts because
Absolutely.
he had a one-to-one conversation with Mr. Putin. That is why that Ukraine war was having a ceasefire for 3 days to ensure that Indian boys and girls, students, are safely brought to India. So
Right.
such a global vision Mr. Narendra Modi has, and that is why he has given an interview to a leading publication house in India that exhibits Narendra Modi is in control. And for global viewers and also for Indian diaspora, I would like to say, I heard Mr. Narendra Modi's speeches in diaspora. He talked about the dual citizenship, he talked about the passport problems, and it is the Narendra Modi's government which brought OCI, Overseas Citizens of India, conflicts for Indian passport holders.
Okay.
They can come freely and go.
Mr. Rajagopal, let's bring in a few more points as well. Now, the new education policy has changed the way, the new India approaches the job market also. You did mention about AI, but in fact, one Gen Z colleague of mine in this office, he calls this smart education. So how do you, how is this going to mold, let's say, the future, especially when we are talking about the Amrit Kaal for the next 25 years?
Narendra Modi's focus is to have an international standard of university education. For example, Stanford or Australian universities, Yale University. They all should have a collaboration with Indian institutes, Indian universities like that. That is a larger vision Mr. Narendra Modi brought in the national education policy, which also in turn, India is a multiple language speaking country. So that also gave a focus on the regional aspirations. Mr. Narendra Modi has given this education policy so that there is no brain drain in India. There is no, for many Indians, those you are from Bangalore, you are from Karnataka, I am from Chennai. And the way in which Narendra Modi has focused on Silicon Valley in Bangalore. a type
Yes.
of focus. So these are all certain inputs in the national education policy which he drafted. Apart from that, Mr. Lin,
Yes.
hats off to Mr. Narendra Modi that he could also share many of the inputs from the ISRO, wherein Chandrayaan touched the moon, world's first India which could set, and he was giving many inputs,
Right.
though he was in a foreign country when the Indian mission, ISRO moon, landed in moon.
Right.
So Narendra Modi shared
Sure,
some of the
we're running
statistics
short
also
of
to the
time,
world.
Mr. Rajagopalan. So let's bring in one more point. In the next 25 years, India is going to see rapid advancements because the Prime Minister has that vision. Now, the Prime Minister is very confident about the Indian economy and its growth trajectory. He describes himself as a painter. He's painting on a large canvas, the Prime Minister says. So do you see now a masterpiece emerging, on that large canvas?
I could see half of that, and the half other in another 10 or 15 years you can see that, because International Monetary Fund has given India 2025 as a 5 trillion economy. So we are pushing it backward so that we come nearer to that instead of giving a long term. Amrit Kal, if Mr. Narendra Modi, as per the projections of Indian electoral system, gives a third term hat-trick for Mr. Narendra Modi, Amrit Kal maybe even, you can feel it in the third term of Mr. Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister of India.
We leave it there. Thank you very much, Mr. R. Rajagopalan, senior journalist. Thank you for enlightening us and giving us some perspective on the Prime Minister's interview to the India Today group.